Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay, 10 minutes, but hopefully we'll finish on time. So welcome to my presentation today. This is going to be a little bit different. I will just present about systematic reviews and meta-analyses. Now, I know it might be a boring topic for some people, so please bear with me and please be patient. I just think that everyone should know about systematic reviews and meta-analyses, at least just to read this and understand this overall. So I hope you get some benefit from this presentation. Okay, before we start, before we start, let's go with a full disclaimer. I am not a statistician, so I don't know much about statistics. So some of the terms or the information I might provide you with might be not 100% accurate. So if you want statistical advice, please consult a statistician because this is not my job. However, do I know what I am talking about? Of course I do. Otherwise, I won't be publishing all these systematic reviews during the past 3 years. So I hope this presentation overall will be beneficial for you. Okay, so the objectives of this presentation are the following. First, hopefully by the end of this presentation, we will be able to read and interpret the results of the systematic review and meta-analysis. It means if we go through a paper, a systematic review paper, hopefully we'll be able to understand what they're talking about, like know how they got those results and why they are saying like this. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, we will be able to understand this. And although the time is limited, we don't really have much time today. It's only 2 hours. So I won't be able to teach you every single step about systematic reviews and meta-analysis. But I still think actually if you pay close attention today, you might be able to work at least on one systematic review on your own without a meta-analysis maybe. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, we will achieve the following. Okay, keep in mind that this will be an interactive presentation. I will be asking you questions, and I hope that you please answer me. I'm not testing you, I'm just sharing my experience. So please don't feel embarrassed of making wrong answers or like providing wrong information. It's just for us to like interact and share the knowledge. And feel free to share any idea, previous experience, anything that you have in mind. So always feel free to interrupt me at any time and just say whatever you want. Okay, now before we start, I just want to make sure that we are familiar with those basic statistical terms. So we have the mean and standard deviation, we have the 95% confidence interval, we have the odds and risk ratio, which are pretty much the same, and we have p-value. So if you took statistics classes, I think you are already familiar with those. So is there anyone who doesn't know those things? Please feel free to say I don't know. It's important that you know. If you don't know now, we will explain it. So please feel free to say if you don't know. Is there anyone who's not familiar with those things? Okay, so now let's go with a small introduction. Now we will start our presentation by asking those questions. What is a systematic review and why is it better than a normal review article or a normal literature review when it comes to making conclusions like about a material or about a procedure? Any idea? Maybe not so far, yes. So let's answer those questions by giving the following example. So let's say you are reading about a certain topic, and this topic is basically the effect of keratinizing mucosa on developing future peri-implantitis. So in case you don't know, keratinizing mucosa is basically this soft tissue around the neck of the tooth, or basically the soft tissue around the dental implant. Now, peri-implantitis is a disease that happens to dental implants, and it leads to bone loss around the implant, and of course, it leads maybe to implant failure in the end. So you are reading about the effect of insufficient keratinized mucosa, like if I have narrow keratinized mucosa, on maybe the risk of developing future peri-implantitis. So you start reading the first paper, you read this paper, and from this paper, we will see that P-value is actually 0.1, which means no significant difference if I have keratinized mucosa less than 2 millimeters or more than 2 millimeters. So this is basically the first paper that you read. You read another paper, and again here we have p-value that is not significant. And again, when keratinized mucosa is less than 2 millimeters, you just realize from this paper that there is no significant difference. It means the keratinized mucosa will not affect peri-implantitis later. You read another paper, and the same paper or the same result here. Sorry, the p-value is not clear. So p-value is not significant, again, which means that if I have keratinized mucosa that is less than 2 millimeters or more than 2 millimeters, I will not have any difference in the risk of developing future peri-implantitis. So you read 4, 5, 6 papers about the same thing, and you have the same conclusions from all the studies that you read. So again, narrow keratinized mucosa is not a risk factor for peri-implantitis. So now you have an idea. You have 5, 6 papers in your mind. You can make a nice table about this, and now you have some knowledge about the topic. So you want to write a review paper about this one. So you start writing your review paper with your conclusion in mind. What is the conclusion? Conclusion is basically that keratinized mucosa or insufficient keratinized mucosa is not associated with a higher risk for peri-implantitis. Because you read 5, 6 papers about the topic, and now you have this conclusion. It's the same conclusion in every study. So now you write this paper and you publish this in some journal that accepts any review paper, and then you feel proud about this paper. So now you have a normal review article with this conclusion. But actually, if you search more in the literature, if you search more databases, and if you try to investigate deeper about this topic, you will find more investigations related to this. For example, you will find this paper, and here it shows that when I have keratinized tissue less than 2 millimeters, I will have a significant risk, a significant p-value. As you can see here, p-value is 0.000 something, which means that when keratinized mucosa is less than 2 millimeters, I will have a higher odds, here basically higher odds ratio for developing peri-implantitis. Now, you read another paper, and this paper shows the same thing. So when I have keratinized mucosa that is less than 2 millimeters, I will have maybe very big significant difference, which means keratinized mucosa is associated with peri-implantitis. Again, you read one more paper and you will find the same thing. When keratinized mucosa is less than 2 millimeters, we will have a higher risk for peri-implantitis. The value is 0.001. Now, let's think again about our conclusions from the previous review article that we read. So first of all, we read 5, 6 papers, and those papers did not show any significant difference. So do you think the conclusions that you wrote in your review articles are accurate? No, exactly. They're not accurate because first of all, you just read some papers. You make the conclusion based on those papers, and you said, okay, keratinized mucosa or the insufficient keratinized mucosa is not associated with peri-implantitis. But after you read more and more and more, you would find that this is not correct. So that is why narrative reviews or normal review articles are not so accurate because basically they are based on your own knowledge, on the author's knowledge. You just read 5, 6 papers and then you make the conclusions based on what you know, not based on what is available in the literature. And that is why they are susceptible to bias and subjectivity because, again, they are based on your own opinion. They're just based on what you know and what you read in the literature, and then you made the conclusions based on this thing. And therefore, those conclusions are incomplete and unreliable. So basically, when I read a normal review article, it's just based on what the authors of that review read and what they know about the topic. It's not based on everything available in the literature. And that is why actually systematic reviews and meta-analysis are a lot better and gives us much more benefit because here we systematically search. It means we search every possible website that has scientific articles and every website that we can access. And we try to choose the articles that fit into our inclusion criteria. So we set a specific inclusion criteria, and then we start to include articles based on that inclusion criteria. And after that, actually, we appraise. It means we evaluate the quality of those articles. So basically, I would say I have 10 papers included, but those papers are not basically of a high quality. So therefore, my conclusions are not 100% accurate, and we should be careful when we interpret those conclusions. And based on those articles that you select and evaluate, then you make the conclusion. After that, you make the conclusion. It's not based on just what you know, it's just based on everything available in the literature. So, therefore, systematic reviews actually have less bias, so they are less biased, and that is why they give you an objective summary of the literature because they are based on everything you can find on this topic. It's not based on just what you read and what you know, it's based on everything available in the literature. And of course, therefore, they provide you with more reliable conclusions. So again, the difference is when we do a systematic review, we search every possible website, everything that has scientific articles that we can access, and then we select our papers based on that inclusion criteria that we have, and then we evaluate the quality of those papers. And based on all this, we make the final conclusions about the topic of interest. So if you actually do a proper literature search in every website, and if you try to find about keratinized mucosa, you will find that actually the lack of keratinized mucosa is a risk factor for periodontitis. So the first paper that you thought of and that you published is not actually accurate. When you do a proper systematic review, you will find that it is the exact opposite. And here we will find out that the odds ratio is quite high, value is quite high. So this is the actual reliable conclusion. Now, don't worry about not understanding this figure. We'll explain everything later.